Chelsea's going to show us release 4 of our Bloom-Topia quilt along. Let's get started.
Hi, so today we're going to be learning how to make the release 4 blocks, the Sarah's Choice block and the geese and gosling block. Let's get started. First, let's start with our Sarah's Choice block. Okay, so you're going to need a background rectangle and a fabric square, and you're going to draw a line on the wrong side of the fabric square, and you're going to place it right sides together with the background rectangle. You'll sew on the drawn line and trim 1/4 inch away. Then you'll have this next piece. Next, you'll repeat the first step and do it on the right side of the rectangle. Afterwards, you'll have a finished flying geese rectangle. You'll need to make 4 of the pink and green version of the flying geese, and then you'll also need to make 4 of the blue and red as well. Next, we're going to make our half square triangle units. You'll need 2 coordinating fabric squares, and you're going to place these 2 squares right sides together. You'll do the same thing you did in the first step with the flying geese, and you'll draw a line on the wrong side of the fabric, sew on the drawn line, and trim 1/4 inch away. Then you'll have your half square triangle unit. You will need to make 4 of the pink and green half square triangles, as well as 4 as the blue and red half square triangles. Next, you're going to assemble your half square triangles to make the pinwheel unit. Place your half square triangles and sew them in pairs of 2, just like this. Then you will sew those 2 sections together to make your pinwheel unit. You will make 1 pink and green pinwheel unit, as well as 1 blue and red pinwheel unit. Okay, so now we're going to assemble our Sarah's Choice block. You will need 4 background squares, 4 flying geese units, and 1 pinwheel unit. Start by sewing 2 background squares to 1 flying geese unit for the top row and the bottom row. And then you will need to sew 2 flying geese units to 1 pinwheel unit. Sew those rows together and then sew the sections together. Then you'll have 1 pink and green Sarah's Choice block and 1 blue and red Sarah's Choice block. Okay, so we're going to finish by sewing these 2 blocks together to make the final block. And that's just it. Sew them together, and then you have your final Sarah's Choice block. Okay, so let's get started on our goose and gosling block. First, you're going to need to make your half square triangle units. You'll take 2 squares, 1 background and 1 fabric, and you'll place them right sides together. You'll have a drawn line on the background square, you'll sew on the drawn line, and you'll trim 1/4 inch away. After that, you will have your half square triangle unit. You will need to make 6 of each of the colors of fabric. This is probably the easiest step in the entire block. You're going to take a green, an aqua, a pink, and a red, and also your white squares. All you need to do is cut them corner to corner diagonally, and you will need 2 of each, as well as 16 of the background triangles. Okay, so now we're going to assemble our large half square triangle unit. You'll need 1 small half square triangle unit, 2 background triangles, and 1 large blue triangle. Okay, so you are going to sew the 2 smaller triangles to the smaller half square triangle unit. Then you'll press and you'll have 1 triangle unit. You'll sew these 2 triangles together to make 1 large half square triangle unit. You will need 2 of each color of the large half square triangle units. So next we're going to be making our gosling units, and I just want to note, when I make my half square triangle units, I've actually been using this tape by Allison Harris of Cluck, Cluck, Sew. It is her diagonal seam tape, and it has been so great and very, very accurate. I use that while I'm making these. It's been awesome. So you are going to need to sew 2 background squares to 2 half square triangle units. You'll sew these top 2 units together and these bottom 2 together, and then you'll sew those sections together to make your gosling units. You will need to make 2 of each color of the gosling units. Okay, so now we're going to start assembling the goose and gosling unit. You'll need 2 of your large half square triangle units as well as the smaller half square triangle units. You're going to sew them together, and then you'll sew these 2 sections together to make your final goose and gosling unit. You will need 1 of each of the 4 units that I'm showing. Now we're going to assemble the final goose and gosling block. You're going to sew these 2 units together that we just finished in the last step, and then you will have your final blocks, and you'll need to make 1 of each of the 2 blocks that I'm showing. Thank you so much. That was so fun, and we will see you again in 2 weeks for Release 5.